I'm going to try and start uploading these to the new team page. So if Facebook will allow me to do that, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but they are all on YouTube, and I'll put that link in our chat after we're done. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is we're going to go to our profile. So whenever you're in Facebook, go to your menu, click on your name, and then I want you to start with your very most recent post. Sorry, I'm still admitting people. Hold on. Okay. All right, so our first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to our profile where you can see your own statuses, right? You're going to start at the one on the very top, and then you are going to comment back to all of the comments that you may have missed. So this is basically like double checking yourself to making sure that you're reciprocating the conversation that is given to you on your posts. So I want you to start at the top, and I just want you to scroll through all of your posts. If you're someone that is super good at responding to all of the comments and maybe you don't have that much, you can just simply interact during this time. But we're going to do this for 10 minutes. And my rule of thumb is that your comment in general, whether it's a comment back to someone or an initial comment on someone's post, needs to be 3 to 4 words or more, because that's what Facebook deems as a legit comment, basically like a relationship building comment. It has to be 3 to 4 words or more for it to be a valuable content comment. So keep that in mind when you're commenting or commenting back to people. Try and make it 3 or 4 words or more. And if the conversation goes lengthy, then you can take it into Messenger. But right now, we're just going to focus on tying up loose ends that we may have left on our most recent posts. So timer is set, and let's get to it. As always, if you guys have any questions, just feel free to unmute yourself as we go. Hey, Shauna. We got one more joining us right now. Hey, Tana. Okay, I'm going to go over the task that we're doing right now. We just started like a couple minutes ago. Hey. So we are going to our profile, and you're going to start with your very most recent post and work your way down, but you're just going to make sure that you're commenting back to all of the comments that were left on your most recent posts. Okay. And my rule of thumb is 3 to 4 words or more to make it a valuable content comment. So this is just basically tying up your loose ends within your post and making sure that you're reciprocating conversation that is left through comments. Hey, Brandy. Okay, so I'm going to say the task one more time so that everybody can be on the same page. We are like 3 minutes into our first task, and what we're doing is we're going to our profile. We're starting with our very most recent post, and we're going through the comments and making sure that we have commented back to everyone that has commented on our most recent post, just to make sure that you're reciprocating that conversation that is left on your post through comments. So 3 to 4 words or more, and we have about 6 minutes left. Yes, Brandy, I just saw your comment. Um, yes, see, I'm one that am usually really good at it, but I'm surprised sometimes when I go back through my posts and I'm like, shoot, I completely missed, if it was a late comment or something. But I did mention at the beginning, I don't think you were on yet, but if you are done with this and you're super consistent with responding back to comments, then you can just interact on your news feed for right now. Just make sure that you are not just reacting to posts, but leaving comments. So, but that's awesome that you're so good at it. Because Facebook sees our conversations as like a door. So if somebody is always leaving you comments on your stuff, they're like knocking on your door. And if you're never commenting back, then you're never opening the door for that relationship for Facebook to see that it's reciprocated. Do you know what I mean? So it's super important. Metaphors are the jam. It's like how my brain clicks. Yeah, Facebook Lives for sure. For sure. And it's harder on Facebook Lives to comment, maybe not harder, just depending on what the post is and whatnot. But sometimes it's harder for people to comment back to people on live simply because it's just like a hey. But instead of putting hey back or like a hand wave or something like that, you can just say like, hey girl, thanks so much for hopping on, or hey girl, thanks for watching the replay, or use their name instead of hey girl. I'm a hey girler. So I say hey girl a lot. That's just how I roll. But if you don't, obviously don't say it. But something like that, like try and think of the first thing that pops into your mind and then like add a couple words to it. That's literally all Facebook needs to see that you're reciprocating the conversation. Yeah. If they're just like hearts or like, I don't know, if it's a hey, I will respond back. But if it's just like a heart or something stupid that you just can't respond to, what are you going to do? Yeah, always the ones afterwards. And I mess up on my posts sometimes too and do the same thing. Like I just completely forget about it. So, yes, Brooks, yes. We got about a minute and a half left. That is so funny that your cousin's name is Sarah Bailey. I guess it's a pretty generic name. My maiden name is not so generic, but it was hard for everybody to spell. So Bailey is much easier. And people still ask me how to spell it. Like, come on now. It's Bailey. That's awesome that you're on here to learn, though. That is dedication, and I absolutely love it. These are amazing. Oh, there goes our timer. I bet you do, because your dog is named after me. I'm just kidding. Okay, so time is up for that first task. We're going to move on to the second one. Are we good? Y'all let me know if you need more time or if you'd rather just like not let me know and just work on that and finishing it during the next task. That's totally fine too. Whatever you want to do. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add 3 to 5 quality friends by looking somewhere other than suggested friends. Okay, suggested friends is, I never like ever use that ever. And it's simply because it's just not the people that I want to add most of the time. Like, I don't know, they're either in a different network marketing company, which is not bad to add them, but I don't want to like, only add network marketers. I want to expand my network outside of that because I think this is a great company for people to start with because of how our compensation plan is and all of that. You guys know the jam. So I want you to look elsewhere for suggested friends. Like, don't use the suggested friends, look elsewhere for them. So what I mean by that is I do some crazy things to friends. I'll type in a random name. Like if I just have a wild hair to add some Jessicas, I'll type in Jessica. And I'm going to add Jessicas that usually I only add people that I have like at least one friend in common with, but no more than like, I don't know, 10 or 15 friends in common with, because I like to completely expand my network and get into that cold market that I know nothing about. So, um, weird jewelry selling people. I just saw that comment. um yeah, it does get a little weird, so think outside the box. This can be from a group that you've interacted with a lot. Maybe it's somebody that responds to your comments or your posts in a group. Maybe it is, from a boutique page or boutique, however you want to say it, that is in your area. Like we have a lot of local boutiques here, and I could go to their page, see who comments on their stuff. If it's stuff that I like and stuff that they like, then obviously we have something in common, and they're local, so I'll start adding friends like that. So just think outside the box. We're going to only take 5 minutes to do this, but try and get at least 3 friends in, a max of 5. And if you've already done this for the day, then I don't know, you can add some more or go over to Instagram, follow some people, or make up your own task. Yeah, do it again if you want, whatever. Just make sure that you're being picky about who you add. Don't just go on there and add everybody and their mom. Like, you need to feel like you're going to jive with this person. This person is coming into your storefront because your social media is your storefront. So if you don't want them in your storefront, don't add them. Um, you're allowed to be picky. So I'm going to start the timer, 5 minutes. And anybody has any tips on adding friends, you guys are more than welcome to share them. I personally don't go through other people's friends list. Someone asked if I go through people's friends list. Um, I mean, you can. I have done it in the past. It's just not something that I do often anymore. When I go to people's friends list, though, I don't just go through their friends list. If you go to someone's profile um, that does not have their friends privately, let's see if I can find an example to show you guys. Okay, so this is my cousin. Anna. And if I go to where you see her friends list, if you click on see all friends, the people who have hidden their friends list, there won't be anything here. Okay. But the people who haven't, it will say suggestions, mutual, and all. If you click on suggestions, this will actually bring up a different type of suggested friends than the actual suggested friends list, like on your generic Facebook timeline feed. So that's a cool way that you can go through people's friends lists and add people that um, Facebook already sees that you have something in common with through that friend. So, like if you're going to a network marketer's profile and you're a network marketer, some of those suggestions, a lot of those suggestions are most likely going to be network marketers. So just think about whose profile you're going through whenever you do use that method, um, because you want, like, Facebook is going to take that specific person's interests and posts and all of that, their whole entire profile and yours, and mesh them together to come up with suggestions for you. Okie dokie. So that 5 minutes is up. Brooke said, "What I'm doing, if anyone wants to know, is I made this post about Bailey in a dog group. And so every day I pick a few more cool people to add from who commented. There are over 300 on each one." I saw that in the wherever you posted, not in the group, but like you posted in a chat or something, I think. That is awesome. You guys, groups are freaking amazing. And that's actually our next task is to, you're going to Okay, so this one you're going to basically choose what you want to do, but it depends on how active you are in groups currently. So, no, I love it. Like great minds think alike. It's awesome. So groups are my absolute favorite way to build new relationships, make new connections outside of my warm market, connect with people locally and all over the world, like get people into my network that truly jive with me, that have similar things in common with me. Like groups are just freaking amazing. Okay. If you're already in a lot of groups, then your task is going to be going through those groups and deleting or removing yourself from the groups that you're not active in. Okay. Because this actually dings your profile when you're active in a crap ton of groups or not when you're active, but when you're in a crap ton of groups, but you're not active in them. Okay. So you want to be active in the communities that you are in. If you are someone who goes through your groups regularly, like I am, I have a Sunday night clean out, and that's when I'll go through my, sent friend requests that haven't been accepted yet. That's when I go through all my groups and make sure that I'm active in all of them, or that maybe if I'm not active in them, but it's useful information that I visit a lot. Facebook sees how often you visit these groups, not only how often you visit them, but how often you interact in them. So it's a combination of everything. So you're either going to go through your groups and remove yourself, or you're going to make an interactive type of post in one specific group that you really jive with. Okay. So this can be literally something super simple and funny. It can be something that's asking for advice, an opinion on something. People love to talk about their opinions. So if you're into like everything going on in the world and you're in a group about that, maybe you could, ask a question about it or whatever you want to do. Just make it interactive so that people are not just commenting yes, no, whatever. Like make it a question or a post that people can respond to with an actual comment. Does that make sense? Okay. Chat's blowing up. Yay. That is awesome. You'll be adding a whole lot more. Yeah, sent friend requests are like another thing that's huge and will ding the weight in your algorithm. So if you're not doing that, I think I have it on a previously recorded power hour that we've done, but you have to do it on the desktop version. So you cannot do it on your mobile, app. But if you go on your Safari within your phone or your internet within your phone and type in Facebook desktop, you can get to it through there, and you can cancel all of the sent friend requests. When I started doing all of this, I had a ton that I didn't even know about. So we're going to take 10 minutes in groups, whatever you feel like you need to do within the group, whether it's asking a question, try and put a picture up if you're asking a question. And then if you finish with your interactive post, I went ahead and started the timer, but if you finish, then you can always interact in that group so that more people comment on your post. That's awesome. Mine used to let me, but then when I updated it, it won't let me anymore. I have to go through the desktop version. Stinks. Or maybe I haven't updated it again and now you can do it again. Might try. Adding people can be a little scary, especially when you get started, but I think the majority of people worry about you know, like getting messages like, "Hey, do I know you?" And for me, like I'm a total dodo brain anyway, and so I'll just call myself out and be like, "Oh my gosh," like if I'm adding Jessica's, which I just did, um, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Jessica, you look so much like this person that I went to high school with. Like I cannot believe you're not her. Like I feel so embarrassed right now." And I'll just make something up. Like, I mean, you don't have to bold-faced lie, but I just I don't know, I call myself out and I laugh at myself all the time because I'd rather laugh at myself than have people laugh at me first. So, and that's what it ends up doing is making them be like, "Oh no, girl, it's fine. I've done that before." You know? Like they get it. You're normal. You're just a person. And it also allows them to see that like you're not just adding them for a sale. Number one, your profile should not scream sales, but that's a whole nother topic. Helping people do things honestly and genuinely. Aw, you're sweet. I learned it from you. I just feel like that's the way to be. I wish I was more of a straight shooter. I tend to still beat around the bush a little bit when I need to speak up, but I'm working on it. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys an example of what I'm posting. I don't some of you guys are my friends, but some of you aren't. But long story short, my dog she escaped and we were at the beach and a pet sitter was supposed to be watching her and she got out and she was walking around for like 12 hours in the hot sun. She spent the whole weekend at the emergency vet. Anyway, she's got some neuro issues and I actually joined a group about like neuro issues in pets and I'm posting in there a picture of her and a video of how she walks. This was all done before, so just like if you don't have all of that, that's totally fine because we're just going off the cuff right now, but I've had these tasks written out. So I went ahead and took a video of her, and I'm going to ask in that group if anybody has ever tried dog chiropractors for these neurological issues. And so that's going to generate not just, hopefully, not just yes or no answers, because people like to share their opinions on things. So most likely people are going to say, yes, I've tried it. It works really well. Or yes, here's a doctor I recommend. Or yeah, we tried it, but it didn't help very much, or, like they're going to give me more of just a yes or a no. So, and Shauna said, I just learned something. I don't know if everyone else already knew this, but when you go to groups, you can sort them by most visited or not. It's going to be so nice to scroll to the bottom. Yes. And your friends list is like that too, except for it's not most visited. It's like recently added to not recently added or oldest. I love going to the oldest. You can sort your whole entire friends list that way. It's so nice. Yeah, people love talking about themselves, about their experiences, about their knowledge, you know, everything. Okay, we have 5 minutes left. So if you guys have already made your interactive post, go interact in that group that you just made the post in. It's on your phone. Well, you can do it on both, but you can do it on your phone. So, are you talking about the groups? If you click on groups and then, so you're going to click on the menu, click on groups, and then if you click on your groups at the top, the first thing you're going to see is your pinned groups. The second thing you're going to see is groups you manage if you're admin in any groups. And then you're going to see other. The other ones are the groups that you're in. You'll see a little arrow pointing up and an arrow pointing down. That's how you sort it. Like if you click on that, it says most visited, groups A to Z, or recently joined. So I actually, mine are defaulted to recently joined because I kind of go in and out of groups sometimes. For instance, in a couple months when I no longer need this dog neuro, hopefully I won't need it, group, I'll remove myself from that group because I'm no longer like active and needing the constant advice. And so when I'm adding myself to new groups, I like to make sure that I'm interacting with those groups like from the get-go. That's just a personal preference. Two more minutes. Okie dokie. Is everybody done with that? We're going to move on. Okay, so another one of my favorite things to do is interact in stories. So that's the next thing we're going to do. If y'all don't use stories, you're missing out because stories are freaking amazing. Hands down, they're like my favorite thing. Like probably even above groups, which is huge. So what we're going to do is you are going to take your finger and you're just going to scroll. You're not going to start at the beginning of your story. So whether you're using Instagram or Facebook or whatever, your first story that you always see, all right, it says create a story, then it's your story. And those first few stories, probably like the first 10 to 15, are always going to be people that you watch the most. If you're always commenting on those same 10 to 15 people that you watch the most, you're never interacting with the other people. So I like to just literally like scroll and count to 3, and then I'll stop somewhere randomly in the middle. You'll actually start to see Facebook tries to trick you. You'll get through like 5 random people's stories, and then it'll start bringing up the people that you interact with the most again. Okay. And then you'll exit out of it and do the same thing. It's kind of tedious, but the next time you hop on, those 5 to 10, 15 people at the beginning are going to change because you're interacting with different people, which changes your news feed and who you see on your news feed and who sees your post. Okay. So it like they say that only 17% or something like that people see your actual posts. This allows you to get so much deeper into your friends list as far as them seeing your post. So I freaking love stories. We're just going to interact. So 10 minutes, 3 to 4 words or more. And my rule of thumb is that I like to leave one reply or comment on at least one story per person. So, regardless of whether the person has 3 stories, 5 stories, 25 stories, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to watch all of them. I'm going to, when I'm doing a power hour, and I did start the timer, so y'all go ahead while I'm chatting. But while I'm watching the stories, I'm looking for something that I can genuinely comment on. So if I have to watch 3 or 4 of them before I get there, fine, so be it. I'll react to those posts. But once I comment on a post, I'm done with that person's story. I swipe to the next one because the idea of a power hour, right, is to get as many interactions and relationship building skills, income producing activities in during this hour. So you want to just go through people. You can always interact a little bit differently the next time you get on. I like to interact before and after I post just because it bumps you up in your algorithm. But as far as stories on Power Hour, be intentional. Be intentional. Okay, that's the beauty of Power Hours. You can get so much stuff done. So we have 8.5 minutes left. It's 11:11. Just saying. Oh, also another thing that I forgot to mention because this just changed in the last and now, hold on, I missed. Oh, okay, yes, 11:11. Them angel numbers. But you can also go to, so when you get to your stories, like I don't think it shows up when you first are on there. Mine is because I've already scrolled. But as you start scrolling through your stories, something's going to pop up right underneath them and it says see all stories. If you click on that, they turn into boxes. Okay, so scrolling just got way simpler because you can just scroll down and start at a random spot there, and it takes way less time than scrolling side to side. On Instagram, you still have to scroll side to side, but they'll catch up someday. Okie dokie. We're done with that. On to our last task for the last 10 minutes. Now we're going to be intentional about interacting. So I want you guys to get out your dream team list or your love on list, either one, depending on which one you've most recently interacted with, or if you've never done this before, just bear with me because I'm going to explain. But I want you to intentionally go to these people's profiles and interact with them. It can be, on their story, or it can be on their actual posts on their profile. But when you click on their profile picture, you know that takes you straight to their story. So I want you to look on this list, and I want you to pick at least 10 people that you're going to go intentionally interact with. And then make sure that after this power hour, you're going back to those comments that were left on your group post and interacting with those as well. So if you finish up your 10 people and you want to go back to that group and kind of comment back on that post we did before, you can do that. But this is what we're going to do for the last 10 minutes. So if you don't have, I'm going to go ahead and set the timer because we only have 10 minutes left anyway. And I'm a talker. Okay, so if you don't have a dream team list or a love on list, the biggest difference, in my opinion, I don't know, because I know some people call them different things. So for me, a love on list is somebody that I just genuinely like as a person. Like I just want to love on them. I want them to know that I'm seeing their stuff. I want them to know that I vibe with them. They're not necessarily like potentials or leads. I mean, some of them are, but that's not what I categorize people on my love on list with. Those are just people that I truly enjoy interacting with. And I would love if I had them on my team, right? Your dream team list, though, is specifically people that you are like dying to get on your team. Those are the people that you make a list of that you know would just kill it in here, that you know you guys get along. Maybe they've done network marketing before, maybe they're not happy in their company. Like these are people that you're specifically, I don't want to say targeting because that's like an awful word to use, but pretty much that's what it is. Like these are people that you're writing down in your list to make sure that you're interacting with them for business reasons. So I want you to, if you don't have a list, scroll down your timeline, scroll in your stories, rack your brain, think of people that you can write down on these lists and try and get 10 people written down on the list. If you already have a list, then choose between those lists and go to that person's profile and interact. Now, if that person has not posted in 2 weeks and they don't have an active story, skip them and maybe just go to the next person. Or if you want to, you can go into Messenger and message them to see how they're doing. I like to, in power hours, kind of just like focus and stick on one task. But if I was doing this, just working throughout the day, I would probably take that conversation into Messenger rather than being a creep and like commenting on something they posted 3 weeks ago. You know what I mean? Because that's not going to show up in my newsfeed, and they know that. Okay, so don't be weird. Just send them a message and be like, "Hey, haven't seen you post in a while. What's up? Like, how you been doing? How's quarantine?" Just I don't know. Brooks is good at that. Like, I'm just a conversation maker, and I think so oftentimes we psych ourselves out about our dream team list and our love on list, and we're so scared to message these people and contact these people because they intimidate us. But like the worst thing they could do is just not reply or say no. And you're not even asking them about anything. You're just building a relationship because that's what it's all about. Like you want them to ask you. Um, Not saying that you can't ask them, but anyway, I'm gonna shut up now. Okay, 7 more minutes. And Brooklyn, if you have any tips, oh, here she goes in the chat. Hold on. I check if they have stories up and interact on those. And if they don't have them, just being candid. Yes, yes. Because I know, Brooks, you're like me. You'll just call yourself out and be like, yo, what up? Haven't heard from you in a while. Like, did you die? I mean, I've literally said that. Like, are you okay? Should I call the cops? Because I'll just be stupid. That creates so much more of a response than being like, hey girl, so I saw that we haven't talked in a while and I just figured I would send you a message because I wanted to see how you're doing. Like that could totally be copy paste. So when you're like, yo, what's up? You haven't posted in 2 weeks, like everything okay? It's just so much deeper of a connection, I feel like, in your relationship. So, okay, for real. I'm gonna shut up now. Yes, everyone needs to take a second before they hop off and read what Brooklyn just said and say it to yourself. I'll read it out loud, but such a nervous energy too to act like that spammy, like the spammy message we were talking about. She said, "Be confident. You are a rad human and people enjoy talking to you. Affirm it." Okay? Y'all need to tell yourself that. Like, don't psych yourself out about it because then you make yourself so awkward. Whereas if you would just talk to them like you knew them for 10 years, or like they were your sister who annoys the shit out of you sometimes, but you love them like a whole lot. I mean, seriously, just be real. So another way to keep your people in a list. I said I was going to shut up, but I lied. I will. Y'all are probably used to it if you hop on these a lot. So if you go to your desktop version, either on your phone, somebody tell me if you can do this on mobile because I don't know how to, but yes. So if you need a pep talk, call Brooklyn. No shoulder, no shoulder massage, but she's there for you. Okay, so I actually have my people in a list on Facebook. So if y'all are familiar with Facebook lists, a long time ago, you used to be able to access these on your mobile app, and you used to be able to go to these actual list like feeds, if you will, with all of this people, all of the people that you have in the list in their own little like feed. And Facebook list is my jam. Like that's how I keep people organized. I suck at writing people down or putting it in my notes on my phone or like anything like that. I really, really suck at organization, like bad. But I will get on because you can actually add people to an existing list through your mobile, like your app on Facebook. So once you have the list created, which you have to do on desktop, you can add them to a list through your app, but getting to that list to interact is a little bit harder. So you have to use a desktop version for that. But that's just an idea. If you need help figuring out how to create a list or how to interact on it, message me after this or tag me in the chat or something like that and I'll help you. I don't want to get into too much detail on here, but if you're somebody like me who just I love writing stuff down just like this. I mean, just like you, but I just can't. My life is bananas and I just forget. I need I need you in my life to help me organize things because oh, you have pretty handwriting too? Oh, yeah, and then I forget, like I forget. So I just people fall through the cracks so easy when I keep an actual list, but they don't like when I can just add them to it. So the second I see somebody's post and I'm like, dang, that's a good post. Like, I really like her. And then I go to their profile and I still like her. I'm going to click on that friends button and add her to one of my existing lists. And then boom, she's on there. Then if I want to go write things down, I can. So that's just how I do things. Um, no, you do, Sarah. I do not whatsoever. Okay, I don't think you've seen my house and everything else. I wish I could keep a planner too. Y'all are making me jealous. Looks like the hybrid child of a doctor and a classical composer. Ah, That's funny. Yeah, so do whatever you want to do with that. Just try and stay organized some way, shape, or form because in this business, you really, it is the fortune is in the follow up. Like, but the follow up doesn't have to be from a list all the time. Like, you just follow up, in my opinion, is just, I mean, there are days that I send messages that are specific about products and following up, but it's only if that person was like legit ready to buy and has, I don't know, I don't like, I'll bring it up in conversation, but I don't straight up just ask them. So follow up for me is simply relationship building. Okay, we got like a half a minute left. So does anybody have any questions before we jump off of here when we get done with this task? Are we good? Did you guys get some stuff done? I hope. And if anybody wants to share tips, feel free to unmute yourself. You are welcome. All right. Timer is up. It is 11:30. I'm gonna go do this power hour because I suck at getting things done while I'm hosting and talking. So I will put the task list in our group chat and I will upload this video to YouTube and I'll shoot you guys the link to the YouTube. It's like a I don't know, just like an off channel of my own personal YouTube. So like I said, I'm gonna try and get those uploaded to the new team page, but Facebook has been wonky about only having it under 100 megabytes and I don't know how to make it under 100 megabytes. So if anybody knows how to do that and help assist out, let me know. Yes, every Tuesday at 10:30. The last 2 weeks have been hell in so many different ways. So I took 2 weeks off, but we're back on it every Tuesday at 10:30 Eastern time. We'll be doing these. And then you guys have been doing them throughout the day sometimes. So if nighttime doesn't work for your people or for you, there are other ones being offered as well. Thank you. Okay, you guys, thanks for hopping on, and I'll see you later. Bye. You're welcome.